Okay, you continue on the breath. As you continue to breathe, always focus on the breathing and just see yourself floating on the breath, going higher. I want you to picture yourself going through portals. So you go through different realms in the heavenlies as you move up. As you're moving up, I want you to look up into the realms, into the cosmos, however you want to picture it. But in the furthest distance, you see a small speck that is a portal, a gateway, and we are ascending to that gate. So continue to go up in the breath as the breath just ascends you deeper and deeper into the spirit. Continue, remember to breathe. Keep on glancing to the top as you see that speck starting to grow slowly but surely, bigger and bigger as you get closer. As you move higher, you can feel that the physical realm is completely gone and you're completely enraptured into the breath, going higher. Just feel your spirit completely weightless. Your spirit is completely surrendered into the breath, and you're starting to move closer and closer to that portal. As you get closer to that portal, be aware of the environment changing, the frequency intensifies. You're moving into that realm when creation came into being. But you're still moving up. As we are approaching that portal, want you to see two angels standing at that portal. They're arcing with each other, just like the cherubim over the mercy seat of the ark. You see these two angels arcing over that portal. They're going to hand you a scroll. That scroll is what Jesus spoke of, that I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I want you to take that scroll and you plant it in your spirit. There's lots of reverence in this place. It's like a holy fear of the Lord. As you go, just remember your guardian angel is next to you, and you are moving through that portal. When you move through the portal, feel the change in your spirit as you are stepping into that realm before creation. Doesn't matter how you picture it, but move through that portal and you go into that realm. As you move into that realm, I want you to picture Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. 3 in 1, 1 in 3. Standing there waiting for you. And I want you to move towards them. When you move towards them, take note, what are they telling you? How are they welcoming you? Be aware of the spirit, what is going on in the atmosphere. So I just want to give you a minute and just soak up that meeting and what is going on around you. Okay, you're going to go. Jesus is reaching out to you, and he takes you by hand, and he wants to take you to a specific place that was special between you and him, that you shared, that you experienced. Because remember that Hebrew word for knew, when Jesus said, I knew you before you were in the womb, it's a Hebrew word that expresses an experience that we had together. So it's not a plan, but an experience. So Jesus takes you, and you are going to go to a place that was a fond memory that you and him enjoyed, did together, whatever it will be. So I'm leaving it open-ended to you. to go with Jesus, and he's going to take you to this place, and he's going to unveil to you what you guys did. And he's unlocking a memory path in your spirit of who and what you are in him before creation. So I'm going to, so it's open-ended. You go and let Jesus show you. Okay, you can start to just wrap up what you and Jesus are doing. Now, before we come back, I want you to stand with Jesus. And that experience is going to breathe into your mouth. And it's a prophetic action of opening up the spiritual pathway, the ancient pathway of who and what you were and are before creation in him. And he's activating that path into your DNA. So when he breathes, you breathe in that breath and you just see how that frequency activates your DNA and sparks your spiritual memory. I want you to breathe that frequency in, breathe out, and just breathe deep in again. And Jesus leads you back to that portal. And you step through that portal with the angels arcing over it. And you're moving into the dimensions you went through, and I want you to just to lean back again on the breath of Yahweh. And his breath just carries you, and you start to descend downwards. I want you to look up to see that portal and how it just goes smaller and smaller. Just continue to slide on his breath. As you come closer and closer to physical realm, feel the joy, feel the spirit of joy that is activated in the whole process. And you're getting closer and closer to here where you are now. And you just feel settled, invigorated, and you can open up your eyes. Slightly shorter ascension, but I just wanted to open and activate the pathway for something that you can continue to revisit. What I've actually done is I've got a separate journal, and I journal my journeys with what Jesus shows me there where we were now. So I have a separate journal that I write that stuff in, etc. Something that you can consider and think about or meditate on is that often your giftings and your passions have something related to what you did there and what he ignited. So so I'm quite creative. So and I like the garden. So Jesus showed me, but we were in the garden creating plants, and you could be an auditor, accountant, or something, so you could possibly have played a part in the councils, in the scrolls, stuff like that. So use with what you have here and allow Jesus to spark the memory of where that passion comes from. Goed. So something interesting also is that, just before we share, because people will often say, when you look at the scripture creation, that when Yahweh said, let's make man in our image, but it was something about releasing who we were in him into a body that enabled us to tap into our DNA inheritance as an Elohim. So something about being released into a body, being the only being that consists spirit, soul, and body, that activates us to be like him. So just something for you to ponder on. Change the way you think about this stuff, because, we are so used to religion as bringing those concepts down to our understanding. And we actually need to rise into Jesus' understanding, because we got the mind of Christ. And what does he say about that stuff, instead of us wanting to process it so that we could understand it? So that's all about unlocking ancient pathways in our spirit man, in our DNA. So I am very keen to hear what some of you people have to say. So you can just pop your digital hand up there and you can share. You want to go, Marcel?
I have to share this. When you said that, I was like, damn, I have to go. This was I'm basically gonna just back up what you said there, 100%. When I ascended the breath, remember I spoke about my golden body with particles. So that's what I step out into. As I was taken up in the breath, it was weird, because I just started floating up and then all of a sudden break apart completely in the breath, and then back into the form, then break apart completely in the form. And on the way up, I started questioning this, and it was just said to me that, remember, you are part of the breath. The breath cannot consist without you. And when I went to the speck, it was like it sucked me in, like this dust got sucked in. And I was standing on a golden floor. There was nothing around me, it's just this golden floor, but down it had imprints and patterns that stood out, and carvings, which I was told that I did. Now I'm standing in that energy body there. There was quite a long time that I stood there, because I was up there pretty quickly. So I started walking around and looking, and as I was touching the golden floor, it was as solid as can be, but as soon as I touched it, it was like liquid golden water. So it was a really strange place. And in that place, it was said to me that everything, how did he put it? We fashioned everything together. The only thing that he fashioned together alone was me in my mother's womb. And that for me was significant. And that's where it comes back to here we are.
Yeah.
From there on, it took a while, and I sat down and I just closed my eyes in that place. And I could see the energy field into the gold, out of the gold, into me, and just reoccurring. From that place, the secret place that he took me to, the place that before creation, before everything, your little skipping stone place, was my place that I've always gone to without knowing it. And that was the little place with the bridge, the stream, and the tree. And that was the place where I always sit on his lap. And I saw myself as a child sitting on his lap, like a child, sorry, just asking question after question after question, why, the whole time. But then I would go and play. I'd play in the river, and I'd play in the stones and on the bridge and go sit back in his lap. And then he said a lot. He said too much. But it's knowledge now, it's within me. But the thing that stood out is he said to me, look around. I started looking at the grass blades, the bark on the tree, the water, everything, even the stake holding the bridge to the ground. He said, everything that you see here is fashioned together by everything that exists, is within every little living being here. This tree gets life from you, gets life from me. Everything that you see here is because of us. Then he said a lot more. So yeah, that's the small version, short version.
It's awesome stuff, Marcel. That's exciting. Thank you for sharing that. All right, who else would like to share? Marcia, go for it.
When you said ask Jesus to take you to a special place, I saw myself on a seesaw with him. And we were going up and down and the scene changed and we were at a carnival. And he said, just play, just play. And I think that was so profound because I had a lot of trauma in the womb and being born. And he showed me that before all that, I was playing with him. And then I saw a stage and they wanted me to get up and sing. And I sang, "You Were My Sunshine." And there was a group of people listening and I jumped off the stage and I'm imparting light and hope to them effortlessly. And the scene changed again and I am enveloped in like this creamy white light. And I'm looking around and I know it's the glory. And I'm looking around to see where Yeshua is, and I realize I'm in him. That's why I can't see him. I'm in him. And as I went further into the portal, the creamy white light becomes brilliant light. And I see the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit doing the hora, the Israeli dance. And then they just become one. And right before you said, see what he says, he said, hi, welcome, we love you, we've always loved you. And it, you know, he's doing a lot in me about being born again physically. But this was a step, I don't want to pull it backwards, but more intense. So I am amazed at his faithfulness and the deep work he's doing, that deep calls to deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marcia. That was special. Thank you for sharing. Come, guys, I'm not scared. I want to know what you were up to.
Can I share, Charles?
Go for it, Marilyn.
I ascended in this spiral, and it went into depths and depths and depths. It was an amazing experience, just the ascension. And when I came to the portal, it shapeshifted. It was a portal, but it had very ornamental surroundings that changed all the time. Very, very beautiful. And then I went through the portal and I was with Jesus in just a beautiful setting at a waterfall, sitting on a rock, sort of in the waterfall, not right under it, but it was wet, but it didn't bother me at all. It was just such a lovely, warm experience. But we were talking, and he was talking about why I had to come here to Earth in this form. And I was sad. And I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to come. And he said to me, he explained to me why I had to come. I didn't hear that explanation, but I know he was explaining to me why I had to come. And he said to me, you are the only one that can do this.
Wow.
And I found that quite amazing. It was as if something inside me exploded when he said that. I'm the only one that can do this. And
Sure.
then it was as if a portal opened up above us, and there were worlds above, and scenes above. And he said to me, you are the creator of realms and of worlds. So, wow, it is almost beyond my capacity to take in. I'm going to have to revisit this ascension again and again and again to absorb this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really exciting stuff. Thank you for sharing, Marilee. Anyone else? Liesel, go for it.
When I approached the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit initially, and you said to see what their reaction was, the Father just scooped me up in a bear hug, like he was never going to leave me. And then that was just so special and so warm, and they were so glad to see me. And then Yeshua took me and we went surfing, and we were on these giant waves. And I don't surf standing up on a board, but I love body surfing. And he reminded me why I love roller coasters and why I love skiing. It's the same feeling in the natural. And afterwards, we just were floating on the boards, behind the breakers and just chatting. And then afterwards, we were on the beach, and I was with them, and it was this scene where you have this campfire on the beach and you just see the coals reflected in the faces, and it was the four of us, and it was like we were talking like old friends around this fire, and it was just as if the three had become four. And yeah, so that was pretty cool, and it just explained why I love things that I do in the natural.
Yes, absolutely. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Liesel. Renee.
Hi. Yeah, it was very special. I was crying early on, but I'm a crier, so it doesn't take much for the tears to flow. Yeah, going up, ascending was quite special. I could feel leaving the earth and kind of seeing everything just go out of sight and feeling the weightlessness and going through space. And I noticed what was interesting is before all of this, I never liked the idea of going out into space and leaving Earth. I was afraid of it, but now there's a freedom attached to it. It's a completely different experience. But when I went through the portal, there was an overwhelming sense of love. Sorry. And Jesus took me by the hand and took me to a place that he knew was special for me. But the funny thing is, I've never been there before. Obviously, in this life, I've never been there, and it was Namakwaland, Womaland. But it's, for those of you who don't know, it's in South Africa. It's in the semi-desert area, and it's just beautiful when the flowers are in bloom. And I'm a gardener, so he knows that I love flowers and plants. And but he took me there, and I've never been there before in this life. And we just sat on a hill and just looked out over the desert and watching the flowers bloom. But I asked him, I said, why did you bring me here? Because I've never been here before. And I said, because I know that you love beautiful things. I know that you love my creation, and I wanted to treat you. I wanted to spoil you. That's why I brought you here. And I asked him, I said, how do you feel about me? And he says, don't you know that I've loved you from the beginning? I was the first one to ever love you. And I never stopped. And sorry about the tears. And then I sat next to him, he just hugged me and just pulled me into him and just held me. And then all of a sudden it started raining right there in the desert. And it rained, it's so hard. And it was strange because it wasn't the rainy season. And I said, what is this rain? And he says, it's you. You are the rain, and you are watering the earth. And I just sat there and watched it rain and just became soaked. And I didn't want to leave. I said, I don't want to leave this place. I want to stay here. But I have work to do, so. That was my experience.
That is really great, Renee. I love what you shared because, and I can pick that up from everyone sharing, is that there is an emotional aspect because God is starting to unveil who you really are. And I've been crying plenty. I mean, if I don't cry, I'm like wondering if something's wrong. But I tell you, even just with the blog on Tuesday, I just, at one point, I just sat and I just cried because as he starts to reveal and show you who you really are in him, and to see that true nature start to come forth and being released. And I suppose part of the cry comes in what you've lost here or what you've allowed to take root into your life. But you know, the blood washes over that. And this ascension is opening up the pathway to rediscover our original intent in him. So it's such a beautiful journey. And it is an emotional journey. You know, prepare yourself for a couple of cries. But with each cry, there's healing that just gets released. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing, Renee. Rose, go for it.
Hi. I just had visual pictures because I normally just see in the spirit. And so the first thing, I saw these houses. It looked like a village, and it was red soil, and the houses were made out of mortar. And Jesus and I were walking along a road, a pathway. And then at the end of the pathway, I looked down and I realized we were on top of a mountain. And then he just took my hand and we started flying. And so the first place we landed was a place of gemstones. And I just saw a flower. It was like a garnet, emerald, and turquoise stone, and it was a flower. And then we moved further and I saw a chair, and he said, sit on it. And it was also made of garnet. And then as we moved on, we came to this woman and I saw her weaving fabric. I thought, oh, okay. And then the next scene was, I saw these different objects and they look like different types of metal. And then we moved on, and at the end of the portal, I saw a different species of creatures. And I just looked, just kind of looked down into this village. And I think it was a lot of creativity scenes that he showed me. And that was it. But
Wonderful.
yeah, it was very different to
For
what I
sure.
normally Yeah,
And
thank you.
that's the start of it, you know. So it's a journey that you will just pursue in that pathway unveiling itself. So great engagement. Thank you for sharing, Rose.
Thank
Deanne.
you.
Hi, everyone. So when we were ascending, I was really present to the breath. And then the scene changed and it opened up into this expanse full of stars. And then somehow I became like the stars. And there was like a door at the same time. It's like something shifted. And then I found myself sliding down this enormous rainbow, this huge rainbow. And it was like, imagine like a big water slide in the water park. And I just saw myself sliding down this rainbow, and it was just so joyful and really exhilarating. And I ended up in a pool of golden water, and the Lord was there. And we just sat in this pool, you know, just, it was warm, it was golden, there was light in the water, and it was just really energizing. And I could feel like frequencies, and it was just so peaceful, really warm and just comfortable, gorgeous, peaceful. And then I sort of moved towards him. He sort of invited me just to embrace him. And as I embraced him, I felt myself just like dissolve into his heart. And I was inside of his heart. And then I was just in this space, just noticing, just being in his heart, nothing more than just being in his heart. And then he said to me, I am his heartbeat. I'm his heartbeat. And I said, how is that? How is that? And he said, if you need to connect with me, just listen to my heartbeat. And I said, yes, Lord. And then he explained to me why I like rhythm and beats and dancing, because I can just connect. I love to connect with his heartbeat and the movement of his heart. But I was trying to work out in my mind, how can you be someone's heartbeat? So how can you be anyone being a heartbeat? He says, like, he's able to, we're all his heartbeat. He manifests us from his heart. And I'm a manifestation of his heartbeat. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I got.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deanne. Thank you for sharing. Great engagement. Right. Is there still someone else who would like to share?
Again.
Okay, Rihanna, go for it.
Besides the fact that we played in the fountain, I had an experience where Jesus took me up very high mountains. We were on the mountains, but it was extremely dangerous most of the time. And I know I've got to go back there. It was not me moving in the mountains. Jesus was with me all the time, but I know I was carried by angels all the way. I saw these peaks, and it was this warm yellow. It was not gold. It was a warm yellow gold color, but it was just extremely dangerous. I could feel the danger, but I had no fear because he was there with me all the time. And I know the angels were actually carrying me. And that's why I actually didn't want to share, because I know I have to go back. I don't know everything. I don't understand everything. Yes, I just want to share that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rihanna. Yeah, it's going through it chapter by chapter and unveiling. So that's wonderful. Alrighty then. It seems like everybody. I want to encourage you, when you guys engage this specific, then be disciplined to go to that place of who and what you and Jesus did before creation. So be disciplined as to that realm so that he can reveal and unveil those ancient paths to you. But that's exciting stuff. It's a nice new journey that you can start pursuing, and to activate that, through your spiritual life. So just lastly, if you did struggle with a blog and the link still doesn't work, then just email me. I'll send you a new link for the blog. But you guys are most awesome. Thank you for being part of this ascension. I love you guys big time. And see you on Sunday with the course.
Thank you. Blessings, everyone. Have a great
Pleasure,
day.
guys.
Bye.
God bless everyone. Shalom.
Shalom. Bye.
Bye.
Shalom. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Wow.
Shalom.
Bye.
Ciao,
Bye.
Evie. Keep well.
Bye. Where's okay.
Daniel, are you there?